Senator Graham has trailed towards the bottom of the polls for most of this election season. So the next question will be which candidate Graham will endorse moving forward. Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez joins us now by phone. Leslie, thanks for joining us. I want to ask you about who he may support. But first off, I want to sort of break it down. What happened with his campaign? Was it the campaign or was it just not his time, like he said in a press release?
I think it was both. When Graham got into the race, a lot of people said he was going to be an underdog. It was a wild card. He was going to have a lot of challenges, very low name ID compared to the other candidates, a lot of people raising money in a jam-packed field. With big heavyweights in there. Jeb Bush was raking in $100 million right off the bat. So for any other candidate, a lot of the big donors, the bundlers, so to speak, were going and aligning with either the larger establishment candidates, or you had a grassroots campaign like Ted Cruz that was very motivated by social media. He just didn't fit in that, but he was trying to carve out a spot where he was the serious contender, and there just really wasn't momentum behind that.
Senator Graham, he is part of the establishment, Leslie. As we have seen time and time again in these polls, the American voters right now, they want somebody outside of Washington. So do you expect any of his fellow colleagues to go after his endorsement?
Absolutely. Well, South Carolina is such a critical primary state. It's coming up early. And the one thing, he's such an astute statesman, politician, and a friend to many of his colleagues on the Hill. He's never lost a contest in terms of going back to his South Carolina House to 4 terms in the U.S. House and 3 terms in the U.S. Senate. He's really somebody he's beat back a lot of his Tea Party foes and has worked within the establishment structure. I think you're going to see a lot of people wooing the senator and trying to get that political endorsement he has at the ground level, which is where they really need people to turn out.
Yeah, speaking of wooing, we're looking right now at a tweet from Jeb Bush where he says, "Nobody's more clear-eyed about ISIS than my friend at Graham Blog. As he leaves the race, I hope our party and country listen to his counsel." When we look at some of the other candidates that have dropped out, like Bobby Jindal or Rick Perry, there's sort of a last hurrah where they kind of assess the situation, and then they pretty much disappeared from the conversation. Do you expect Lindsey Graham to continue to play a role moving forward in the presidential campaign?
Absolutely. I think that's what's distinctly different about Senator Graham. He's been on the Sunday talk shows. He's talked a lot about the demands on this country to develop a national security strategy. He's been entertaining in the debates. People have started to know who he is. I think he is definitely someone these candidates are going to want to have on the stage. You'll see more about him. He wasn't able to raise big political dollars, but he was able to have the bona fides around national security, his armed services background. That is going to be pivotal to any of these candidates moving forward.
Leslie, what are you hearing? Any idea on who he is considering endorsing?
Not yet. I think he's going to wait it's hard to say until you really kind of talk to his team and see where he's thinking. But he is holding a very coveted political grassroots operation. And I'm sure he will be getting and fielding many calls today from everybody from Governor Christie. Certainly you see Jeb Bush reaching out. It's more on the establishment side who really know they need the support of someone who's so revered in the state.
When it comes, when you're thinking about the senators, we've been seeing Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Ted Cruz kind of battling that out a little bit. Does Senator Lindsey Graham have a relationship with either of them more than the other?
I can't speak to that directly. There's so much that happens when you're with your colleagues. It's a very unique relationship on the Hill, and they have to work together to get things done. When I'm saying things like he has to push back against Tea Party initiatives, there's certainly fractions within the Republicans who are pushing or stalling certain legislation. He's been around a very long time. He knows how Washington works, and he knows how to get things done. Those are just very unique skills. There was a lot of noise around that, but that was one of the biggest strengths he brings. And his frequent criticism of President Obama on everything from Benghazi to ISIS. He's certainly somebody who stands as his own senator, as his own self. I mean, he knows how to work on both sides of the aisles, but he's going to definitely be somebody that these candidates will need to reach out to.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham dropping out of the GOP race. Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez, thank you.
Thank you.